Alright, so I'm back in the shop working on my Blazer again, and this video is all about steering and experiments, and I have no idea how this is going to work. So right now I have a 1.75" steering ram, or a 2" I don't remember. It might be a 2" hydraulic assist. It's a PSC ram, and then I have a steering box that I had Bleepin' Jeep. It's drilled and tapped out for hydraulic assist. So with 40" DOT tires, never had a problem. It steered perfect. With 42" stickies, the sticky part is the big part. It binds. I'll get into places and I cannot steer at all. So just being sticky tires make a huge difference with that. And it's really frustrating when I'm up on an obstacle and my sputter's telling me to turn and I can't turn. So I really want to see if I can get this thing to steer better before I do full hydro, which I do plan on doing unless I can get something to work. It's just really expensive, so I can't afford to do that. So I'm just going to do a couple experiments and see what I can figure out. I got this ram for free, so that's free. There's no harm in trying. So I'm just going to try a couple things and see what I can figure out. This is a 2.5" by 10" steering ram. That's a 2" by 8" steering ram. So it's a lot more volume, and you know, I don't want my steering to be so slow that I can't steer, basically. So I know if I put that in there right now, as is, it'll have power. It'll be plenty of power, but I know it's not going to steer very fast. So what I've done is, out of another power steering pump, this is the restrictor valve thing that the fluid has to flow through to get to the pump. Has a pretty small hole in them, stock. This one in here is drilled out slightly bigger, but I took this one, and if you can see that, I did drill it out pretty big. It's a 3/16 hole, or no, it's a 13/64 hole, which is just slightly bigger than 3/16. Is that too big? Is that going to cause other problems? I have no idea. So what I'm going to do is pull my steering ram out, and I'm just going to mount this one in there temporarily, kind of easy way. So right now, as you can see, it goes to here because that's an 8" steering ram, but with a 10" ram I'll go to here. So I'll go up to the tie rod, and I already have a mount on the diff cover. When I was doing stuff with this ram, I ended up mounting it over here, but I originally had it over here going to the tie rod. So I'm just going to mount that one to this mount and to the tie rod, so that'll use the full 10" travel that ram has. And I'm going to throw in that ported out valve and see what happens, I guess. So I'm just going to get this stuff pulled apart and get that one kind of mounted in there like that, and I'll show you what I come up with and if it works. So obviously that is a temporary mounting spot just to see if it works or not. So this is with the valve that's in there. Just gonna see if it works at all with the valve. So as you can see, I'm mean, it was making a little bit of noise because it's a little low on fluid, but it just turns really, really slow. So I'm gonna pull that port out and put the one that I drilled in, that I drilled a bigger hole through, and see if that makes a difference, makes enough of a difference to where this is a viable option. Sorry if you didn't see anything on that, changing that piece out. I didn't see anything either, so. Alright, so a little bit of an update. I don't know how much I'll show, but I've been playing around with steering rams for a little bit on my hydraulic assist, trying to figure out which ram's going to be the best, give me the most power, but still have enough steering speed. Because I put that red ram on there, 2.5 inch by 10 inch, had all the power in the world, no issues there, just really slow. And the ram I have is 1.75 inch by 8 inch ram. It's fast, but it doesn't have enough power. So went somewhere in the middle. This is a 2 inch by 10 inch stroke ram. Just a tractor ram. I'm not going to spend a bunch of money on these fancy PSC rams because it's the same thing. But yeah, so I'm going to try getting this one in here, and I think I know enough now from my experiments to I think this one's gonna work. I don't sound super confident about that, but pretty sure this one's gonna work. So I'm just gonna go for it, and if it doesn't work and I have to pull it all apart and redo it, then I have to pull it all apart and redo it. But I gotta start doing something because the steering it has right now is just not gonna work. So I'm gonna pull that ram out. I'm going to cut the mounts off of the axle, and I'm going to mount this one and see how that goes. So I got some Heim joints here that I'm going to mount to the axle and to the tie rod. I'm actually have a Heim joint coming off because these tractor rams don't have Heims on the end of them. So it's going to be those bolted to a Heim joint instead of the other way around. And I think that's going to work out really good. So yeah, I'm just going to start cutting stuff and fitting things, figuring out exactly how I'm going to do this, and I'll update you guys when I get some progress done. All right, so as you guys seen, I haven't done a lot of talking, but I did get the ram in there. You can see it's mounted to the tie rod, and then it comes over here and mounts to the axle housing right up there. Well, actually to the truss, but ties into the housing. It's tucked up pretty well. It does clear, and it is just as tight as it can possibly be in there. So at full lock, this gets pretty dang close to this, and the ram basically touches the tie rod. So it's pretty much as tight and tucked up as it can be. I wanted to tuck it up a little bit more. As you can see, it does hang down a little bit under the tie rod. But I always planned on building a skid plate, so I've been playing around with some cardboard. Build some kind of skid plate for it that'll come up. And it'll also have a mount right here on the front for a suck down winch. So I'm gonna do some pretty hard trails. I've got plans to go down to Moab and do Coyote Canyon and Big Balls and hot tubs and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to get it going, and the steering was a big thing that held me back before, so I'm really trying to get that to be better. I do think it's better. It's not amazing. Like if that red ram I had earlier, it had a lot more power, but it was just undrivable with how slow it is. So I think this is a pretty good middle ground until I can afford to go full hydro steering, of course. But it's getting late, so I'm gonna get back to working on this thing tomorrow, and I'll start building the skid plate tomorrow, and yeah, hopefully have this thing knocked out. I have pretty much a week before I go to Moab, so try and get this thing ready, but I'll be back tomorrow. All right, so it's the next day, and I know, I'm sorry, but I think I'm gonna actually finish this video off here and build the skid plate in the next video. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching this video, messing around with steering. I don't really know what I'm doing. Seems to work pretty good. I did take it down the road and kind of play around with it a little bit. I haven't done any off-roading yet. That'll be later on. I'll go do some more testing, but this has been a lot of work. It took me a couple days to build this. It is quite a bit of work. So there you go. Improved the steering on the Blazer. So now I'm going to build a skid plate so I don't mess it all up in the next video. So make sure you guys stay tuned for the next video.